All right, guys. Today we are gonna be reacting to Andrew versus Boss Babe, who can't say which jobs women are better at than men.
Which jobs women specifically are going to do better than men?
Well, actually, that's just an example about one of the societies. But in Malaysia, there's actually a lot more women in computer science fields because they value their intellect, and that's considered more feminine.
It doesn't mean that they're better at it. We're gonna so without equivocation, men are better soldiers than women. Yes?
Yes, majority, yes.
Yes. What job are women better at than men?
I would say like a lot of social work, perhaps.
They're not. Which social work are they better at? Not that there's more of them, but they're better at it.
Like psychiatrists, everything that involves a lot of mental
How
health.
are women, and what makes women better at being psychiatrists than men?
Well, because they're more, I feel like if you're entering such a field, you have to be able to be more empathetic, and we all agree that women are more empathetic.
And you also need to be very logical, and we agreed that men are more logical.
Yes, but if you're...
I don't see how a man would not be just as good as a woman inside of the field of psychology nor psychiatry. In fact, I think psychiatry-wise, there's actually more men in that field. I think there's more women in the field of psychology.
Like I said, I don't have the exact statistics, and I'm not saying women would necessarily be better, but from a physical standpoint, the only thing is that I know for a fact that men fight better. I mean, we all know that, right? But I don't think that you can pinpoint on other specific jobs and say one is better than the other.
I agree.
I agree.
So if that is the case, I would just agree with you, right? I would just say you're right. I don't think in many of the, well, I think that there's some jobs we could say men are going to be better at it, right? So for instance, I think men in general are going to be better at underwater welding. I think they're going to be better at construction, at concrete laying. I think they're going to be better at roofing. I think that they're going to be better at an innumerable amount of jobs which require physical strength. However, I can't think of a single job which requires less physical strength that men are going to be worse at than women. I can't think of one. Can you?
No, go ahead.
I wouldn't say that these jobs women are better than men at, but some examples could be things like fashion design or art. Or
You mean, hang on. You mean the job that gay men have? That's how you get all of the fashion of the world is invented by men for women, specifically gay men.
Gay men are killing it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
another
They're
example
killing it.
that I thought of is, you don't have to agree with this.
By the
but
way,
this
this
my
is the case with
perspective.
makeup. This is the case with fashion. This is the case with, including lifestyle, all of that. That's all invented by men. That's all done by men.
The gays are doing a great
So
job.
some jobs that I thought of are
Yeah, the makeup artists, the one that do the makeup, the gays guys are the better at it. This is not crazy. The best chef in the world, man. I mean, a lot of these things are just men. The psychologist is a man. I mean, the only thing I will say is being a mother, because you can't be a mother, not nurturing a mother.
caretaking, nursing. You don't
No,
have
I'm
to
not.
agree
No, I'm
with
not
me.
laughing at you.
Yeah, hang on.
I'm not laughing
Brian,
at
let me
you.
go through them one at a time. Okay, let's take nursing. Nurses right now are on the, this is globally, not just here. Hospitals are desperate to have male nurses because women do not have the physical strength to move patients. They're desperate to get more male nurses. In the United States, there has been many such programs to destigmatize the gender distinction in nursing so that men don't feel like they have to feel bad by going into nursing, because that's how desperate nursing stations are to have men. Nobody would ever make the claim that female nurses are better than male nurses, only that there's more female nurses than male nurses.
So how about patients who are dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's and things of that nature? And
Can you tell me
You-
what
you-
women are uniquely equipped to deal with when it comes to that men are not?
In my opinion, yes. If we're going by the traditional roles that women and men represent, I do feel that women are more empathetic and more nurturing and receptive. I
Yeah,
feel a
but a
lot of
dementia
people
patient's
would-
going to forget all about that, right?
Well,
You
that's
want,
not really the point.
I was joking. It's a joke. It's a joke. But even if that's the case, that women are more empathetic than men, in all of those situations, you would still need logic, reason, all of those other things, which you think that men have a kind of, well, not the monopoly, but they're better at. There's no way you could never give me a trait set of why women would be better at taking care of dementia patients than men without me being able to give you a trait set back to say, okay, but this is why men would be better at it than women.
There are many jobs that need effectiveness and, logic and reasoning, but there are also jobs that exist that need that more patient and understanding kind of quality. And
Which
I do feel
ones?
that women
Come on.
teaching, nursing,
Teaching and nursing. Oh my goodness.
Therapy.
Teaching doesn't require logic and reason. I would say teaching, out of all the jobs you could think of, requires logic and reason above everything else. Otherwise, how do you teach them anything?
in my personal experience, maybe from kindergarten to, I guess, like middle school, it was mainly more female teachers, or at least like male teachers
Yes,
that
I agree
embodied
that
that
there's
feminine
more
energies.
female teachers,
that-
but I don't understand the trait of empathy for teaching, why that's more valuable than logic and reason. Can you explain that to me?
I think that empathy go hand in hand with passion, and with logic and reasoning, you don't really need passion for whatever you're doing. And if you don't have passion for your job, that can also be, I guess, transferred onto the students that you're teaching, and there's no effectiveness in teaching them either.
But you can be passionate and very logical and reasonable. This has nothing to do with empathy. You can be very passionate without having empathy for other people. You could be like a passionate serial killer, passionate about what you're doing, but that doesn't mean you have any empathy. I don't understand, though, if you're going to teach people how to do X thing, isn't logic and reason the thing you want above all other things? Like, I can't think of a more important trait. I'm not saying you don't need empathy. I'm not saying you don't need to have these other things. I'm just saying, wouldn't we
What do you guys think? Any jobs that women can do better? I think being a mom, not a father, a mom. I think that's the only one that I'm thinking of. They have that in their nature. They will wake up, 3 in the morning to feed their baby without thinking, kind of thing. I think that's the best one I can think of right now.
value the logic and reason portion of teaching above everything when it came to teaching?
Well, I feel that I learned best, this is me personally, when a teacher was more passionate about their job and they're not telling us to open our books to like page 91 logic. Like, it has to be a mixture of both, but that is just my opinion. I do feel that,
How did a teacher teach you without logic?
I'm not
how?
saying they didn't use logic, but I'm saying that
How does somebody like empathetically teach you math? Like, I'm trying to think about it, right? How would one go about empathetically figuring out how to teach a person mathematics? I'm trying to think like how I can make you feel the math. How can I make you
point.
feel the math?
Empathy is about being able to place yourself in other people's shoes. So if there's students struggling with learning something, you would at least be able to, you would at least need the empathy to at least be
But
patient
you
with.
know what's crazy? In my experience, women are not good at it either. They were not good at it. Knowing that some students were doing bad, they were lucky, man. They would not step out to the plate. They would not step out to the plate. And mind you, in my schools, even in my life as a student, mostly women. I don't know why. It's just the industry. It's like that. Mostly women, and man, they hated teaching somehow. They just hated it. Now that I look back and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, they hated it teaching. They hated it.
with them and to understand the progress that they're making.
Yeah, but how would you make them feel the math?
I never said that they were making.
Yeah, how would you go about teaching it? So you tell me real quick. Let's pretend for a second that I'm I don't know, first grader, and you're trying to teach me 1 + 1. What would be your first step to teaching me 1 + 1?
So for me, is it just one student that I'm teaching, or is it a whole
Yeah, just one
classroom?
student, yeah.
And what is their, I guess, like, capacity of
They have a
learning?
normal capacity of a first grader, whatever that is.
Okay, so
Big Sass Energy donated $99. Blows my mind that people think empathy is an overwhelming need in taking care of people that are out of their mind. Affirming mental illness is not care, it's the opposite.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, but I'm going to leave that aside for right now, Big Sass. I
So-
think that that's a good point, though. But if you're teaching a student 1 + 1, what do you think step one would be?
and that's why I did mention more other careers outside of math. Like, I feel like you're using math.
Yeah, I know,
because
but
there's a lot
let's
of
start
logic
with that. Let's
involved.
start with it, because you
That
mentioned
example
teaching.
doesn't really
Okay,
validate what
fine.
I'm saying.
History. You're trying to teach me the Battle of the Bulge. What's step one?
So for me, I'm talking about careers or teaching when it involves like arts, fine arts. I feel like when you use science or
Oh,
history
okay.
or things that
Okay,
have
sex
answers to it.
education. What would be step one for sex education? What would you say for that? How about physical education? Like, I can't actually think of anything in regards to teaching where you wouldn't value reason and logic above everything else. Like, I really can't, and I'm willing to give you the floor to demonstrate to me that I'm incorrect by just telling me pick any teaching subject you can possibly think of, and tell me what step one to it would be.
Wow, she's completely lost.
Well, English and
Okay,
step one
English.
would be, for example, like there are different English classes. I just recently took literary device or like poetry, and you would need to
Mm-hmm. Sure.
feel that and be passionate about what and be able to
Okay, so
understand what the poem
poetry.
is.
You're passionate about poetry. What's step one to teaching me poetry? What would be the first thing you would do?
I would first preface by saying that there's no wrong answers in poetry.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? This is what not being a humble person is. Look at her. She's not so humble. She just wanna demonstrate, Andrew, that she's a smart person. This is so wrong. She's doing this so wrong. That you don't need to go back and forward. You gotta own that. Humble yourself. Keep moving forward. But no, you wanna demonstrate that you're smart, I guess. This is not a good comeback from her. Looking very bad.
Okay, there's no wrong answers in poetry. What next?
I would allow my students to kind of first like read through a poem and be able to like freely think and express what they truly feel from the poem, and then based off that we would have a discussion.
I don't understand, teacher, Edgar Allan Poe's poem here. What does the beating heart represent?
There we go.
What do you think it represents?
Yeah.
Now we're in logic and reason.
You can definitely fuck up a haiku. I'm just saying. Like,
Why Brian has to do this? Why Brian has to do this? Why Brian have to just come in and just do this? When he doesn't understand that these back and forward, the Andrew's having, is literally destroying the world. And she now look at her body language. She's like, man, I got saved. I got saved. Nothing against the guy, but he shouldn't just jump in and save her. Look at her.
you can definitely fuck up a haiku. You can even fuck up a soliloquy. Like that's really easy.
Oh my god. I don't know why he did that, man. Why, Brian? Why you have to do that, man? Just let them have that back and forth. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you next one.